Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Huddle podcast. I am your host, Trevor, and I am joined by my co host, Bailey. How's it going, Bailey?
It's going good. I'm ready to get into episode 3, talk about some interesting things around the league.
So we'll be talking about a lot of players being idiots, facilities open up. We'll be discussing a third round of draft picks. So without further ado, let's get on to our first news topic. Bailey, take it away.
So, in our first bunch of players being idiots, we got DeAndre Baker and Quinton Dunbar. This is probably the big highlight of the week. To summarize, basically, DeAndre Baker for the New York Giants and Quinton Dunbar for the Seattle Seahawks were involved in 4 cases of armed robbery. Apparently, they tried to steal $70,000 worth of cash because they lost in a card game, and they're already rich, but they don't care. They want more money.
Yeah. Uh, Both Baker and Dunbar have turned themselves in. Dunbar has had witnesses say that he did not do it, but he has still turned himself in. The whole situation is kind of murky, so most likely, I'm not sure if any of them are going to play in the NFL again. We'll have to see, but why you guys have got to be idiots?
Yeah, sucks for me because traded up for this guy just to pick him in the first round, and he turns out to be that, but nothing you can do about it. Plus, the Redskins got cucked, as we'll see in a minute, which makes me happy. So,
All right. Well, speaking of the Redskins, Redskins wide receiver Cody Latimer has recently been arrested for assault and possession of a weapon. Basically, the story is that he tried to assault someone, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Why are people idiots?
I don't know. With Cody Latimer, he was on our team last year, and he was someone I would have been fine with keeping. But thank God we didn't. And I think it's funny because the Redskins were like, "Oh, thank God, Quinton Dunbar dodged a bullet," and then no.
No more crime. Yeah, I feel like quarantine people more stir crazy than usual.
Right.
Kind of crazy. So let's move on. We have our third player, actually fourth player to be an idiot. This one isn't murder, but Ed Oliver, defensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills, decided it'd be a good idea to drive drunk, and he has been arrested for DUI. I
Crazy.
don't know.
I know the least about this one. I only found about it, about an hour ago. But crazy. People do not want to stop being stupid.
You can just drink at home. Like you don't have to go out and drink and then drive home.
Just drink and bike home. Like,
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
but yeah, players being stupid. That's it's pretty crazy. All this happened in a span of only 1 week. 4 people.
Yeah. And
Quarantine
then there
getting
was the
people.
whole Earl Thomas thing before that
Yeah,
too last week. It's just kind of crazy. Well, I guess let's move on to a less
a bit of a lighter topic.
yeah, a little bit of a lighter topic.
Um,
Uh
we have the facilities opening up Tuesday 19th. This is this could be taken as good or bad news for people. On the bright side, it means players will be able to get together and practice regularly as they normally would. But on the downside, it's like with coronavirus not really being very low in cases or whatever, maybe it's not the best play.
yeah. I'm fine if the NFL goes along it like smartly. I feel that some states are still locked down and those teams will not be practicing. But states who are that are open currently will be practicing on Tuesday. And yeah, we'll have to see if my guess is coronavirus cases will definitely flare up because of this. We'll see how badly it flares up and if the NFL handles it correctly.
Yeah, I think NFL is very good with handling player safety. They always prioritize it, so I think they'll be able to handle it pretty well, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see something happen with someone.
All right, let's move on. We're
Main
gonna go
event.
up to our main event, draft pick. There's a lot of interesting draft picks. that went in the third round. This will be the final round that we kind of go over, and
Mhm.
we'll state our thoughts on all the picks. So,
Kick it off.
let's begin. All right, the Cincinnati Bengals select Logan Wilson, linebacker out of Wyoming. I feel that the Bengals should have gone O line here. Josh Jones was still on the board. Lucas Niang was still on the board. You got some good tackles on the board, and that O line is awful last year. I get that Jonah Williams is coming back, but I don't want Bobby Hart starting. That's how I
Mhm.
feel.
I see the O-line want, but I think with the first two picks, you invest in your offense to make that a bit better. O-line was like 50% of the problem last year in the whole quarterback situation, but if you see them play last year, I am not kidding. They had zero linebackers. They might as well had no one out there. Nick Vigil was the only one who got something done occasionally, but all you had to do was run the ball and you won against them, and that is why they went 2 and 14. So, yeah, linebacker was a big need for them, so I'm not upset with this at all. Linebacker or O-line would have definitely been my second choice though, but they needed to go with some defense after those first two offensive picks, I think. And then we got second pick in the third round, Washington Redskins going with Antonio Gibson, wide receiver from Memphis. This is pretty good for them. McLaurin was obviously their only good receiver last year, and not Patrick Peterson, Adrian Peterson was is not really a good running or a receiving back despite his experience. So you really got to give Haskins some places to throw to, and especially with a mediocre, if not worse, O line, you need some targets that can get open fast. So this is a good pick from them.
Yeah. They still had Trent Williams at this point in the draft, so I get that they didn't want to go O line here. Terry McLaurin was pretty much the only reliable target, and this is kind of ironic because Cody Latimer is probably going to be out of the team now. So Antonio Gibson just should be a number two to Terry McLaurin, who I believe will probably become a wide receiver one in the future. And yeah,
Yeah,
good pick, Skins.
I think you were right about that, like the value going up because of Cody Latimer.
They predicted the future.
Indeed.
Only explanation. All right, moving on to the Detroit Lions. They chose Julian Akwara, linebacker out of Notre Dame. Uh, Solid pick to help the defense that was ranked 31st last year. They already went corner. They need linebacker help, so I don't mind this pick.
Yeah, as we'll see be a trend in this draft, I'm never gonna be very upset with a linebacker pick for the most part, because I think last year linebacker is not really a position that is not a need for teams. You do have some star linebackers on certain teams, but even then, one
Yeah.
player doesn't make the huge difference. So never that mad about it. And they did go with running back with their last pick, and with the very bad defense, I think they need to keep building on it. So good from them. And then we got New York Jets getting theirs from the Giants, so they could get Williams, but they pick Ashton Davis, safety from California. This is solid from them. Their defense was actually not half bad last year. Their run was pretty good, so they did want some players helping out in the backfield for sure. I think this was good for them, and was it worth Williams? We'll see. I think it was.
Yeah, I think the Jets will most likely win this trade. Ashton Davis is a pretty solid safety prospect. They have Jamal Adams, but they if Davis develops, they can have a really good safety tandem. That Well, their run defense was really good. Pass defense wasn't amazing.
Mhm,
Maybe a cornerback, but a lot of them already got taken. So my guess is they really just wanted a safety. Good pick by the Jets. Don't mind it.
mhm.
The Seattle Seahawks traded with the Panthers for the 69th overall pick for Damian Lewis, guard out of LSU. Pretty good pick. The Seahawks finally addressed their horrendous O line. The Seahawks have never really had an O line, and I kind of wish they picked up a guard sooner, but they, they finally did it, so you have that. I feel that this was a good pick, and this is the right pick.
Well, it was definitely the right pick. It took them long enough, to be honest. They needed to do this sooner, but I mean, better now than never. Uh, Other than that, can't really complain. At least they finally did it. definitely O-line was the play. You saw Russell Wilson struggling in that pocket last year. Have to help it out. Then, moving on, pick number 6, Miami Dolphins, Brandon Jones, safety out of Texas. This pick makes a little bit of sense to me. Maybe you should build upon that O-line a bit more, or help with the linebacker spot, because you do have Byron Jones that you traded for, but I still think that you want to build a safety combo there, so not mad about it. Solid pick.
Yeah, I see this as the Dolphins trying to build up their defensive back unit. They're trying to kind of emulate the Patriots, and the Patriots kind of are all about having really good corners and safety. So this is what I see what the Dolphins are doing. Brandon Jones, good. I could nitpick and say the O line or the D line, but I won't because it's a good pick. Moving on, the Baltimore Ravens traded from the Chargers to the Patriots to select Justin Matabuke, defensive tackle out of Texas A&M. I thought this guy would go higher. This is yet another good pick by the Baltimore Ravens, which is very, very rare, of course. And Matabuke, really good prospect. Their run defense was probably the worst part of their team last year, so the Ravens want to fix that.
Right. Um, and in a team that pretty much has no holes, you can't really get flamed for picking any position at that point. For me, I didn't think running back was necessarily the safest pick, but they go with DT here, and definitely not mad about it. And plus, Justin's a good prospect, so perfect from them, as per usual. And then we got Arizona Cardinals. You want to take this over?
Sure. They select Josh Jones, tackle out of Houston. This is one of those prospects that I have no idea why he fell. He was a 4-year starter at Houston and was very solid throughout the entire year. The one knock that people seem to have about him is that he kind of got bullied in the Senior Bowl against Javon Kinlaw, who was the 13th overall pick. So I mean,
Hmm.
it's not that bad. The
It's
guy
like,
should was projected to be a late first round pick. So I
Mhm.
don't know how he dropped it all the way here. I'm not gonna complain. That was a really good pick.
yeah, I mean, you put a late first round, early second round type of pick against a early first round pick, it's probably gonna go to the first round pick or the early first round pick, so can't really be mad about it. Good pick from them for sure, especially because he fell all the way to the third, and O line was the need. I heard a lot of people still wanted to go O line with their first pick instead of Isaiah Simmons, but now we see with this, Isaiah Simmons was definitely the right pick for them, so this is really good. But then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars, Devon Hamilton, defensive tackle, Ohio State. This is solid from them. I think they wanting to go back to their roots of being a really dangerous defense. You already re-signed Ngakwe, which may or may not stick around. We'll see. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they pick Kinlaw just a few picks ago, so they're really trying to build up that defense. We'll see how it works out for them. I think we can see some improvement there, but their offense is still going to need some work next year.
Yeah. Ngakwe is most likely gone. They kind of already addressed edge rusher. They want to fill as many holes as possible. This is sort of a Calais Campbell replacement. I won't mind a trench pick. I think trench picks are always smart unless it's insane reach. Hamilton isn't. So yeah, good on you, Jags.
If I snag Ngakwe in free agency, I'm gonna be so happy. He was
Well, you'd
a
have to trade for him.
Yeah, but he's a prospect that a lot of people wanted us to get. I'd be happy with it.
Yeah. Well, moving on. The New Orleans Saints traded up with the Browns to select Zach Bond, the linebacker out of Wisconsin. I'm very surprised Zach Bond fell this far. I would have figured he would have gone in the early second round. The Saints don't have a lot of holes, and their linebacking core is all right, which is probably their biggest hole, honestly. So as long as Drew Brees is good, the Saints should be a Super Bowl contender, and this just helps out with that.
I think um I'm surprised that a lot of solid linebackers fell so far because I think they are one of the biggest needs of every team this year. So definitely a good pick from them on a team that like really doesn't have any glaring issues. Linebackers just a good place to go to, especially when you have that big a talent there at that value. So for sure a good pick. Then we got Detroit Lions get their pick from the Colts and go with Jonah Jackson, guard from Ohio State. This is solid from them. I don't think their O-line was completely terrible last year, but it wasn't, anything great. So you want to protect Matt Stafford, arguably your best player, give him time to throw, and solid from them.
Yeah, this was kind of the Graham Glasgow replacement for the Lions. He left for the Broncos, so they wanted to replace him. And guards are always a good value in the third round. And I think the Lions got good value here. No complaints here. All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the 76th overall pick select Keyshawn Vaughn, running back out of Vanderbilt. Uh, Good pick by the Bucks. I think they're one of the few teams that I'm fine with a running back. You could nitpick and say that maybe selecting a guard or a center would be fine, but they haven't really had a run game. Ronald Jones has been disappointing ever since he got to Tampa, and Keyshawn Vaughn should hopefully outplay Jones and give a running game to the Bucks. They haven't had in a while.
Yes, they went down a similar route that the Chiefs did, really investing in that offense. And as I said with them, as I said with a few other teams that just heavily invested in offense, like if it doesn't pull off and they don't put up a lot of points, I consider this a bad pick. But from this perspective, like with the Bucks specifically, their run game has never been strong at all. So we'll see if Vaughn can change that. I think it's good from them. Defense would have been a little better in my opinion, but if it works out, then I'll have no complaints. Then we got Denver Broncos, Michael Ojemudia. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yes. Cornerback out of Iowa. So this is definitely good from them. They do have a decent backfield already, but definitely want to build on it because they went with offense in the first pick. So we'll see how it adds to their defense. I think it should be good for them though.
Yeah. I'm just gonna call him Michael O. So Michael O's pretty good. The Broncos kind of needed a cornerback. Chris Harris left, and they got AJ Bouye, but that's kind of a downgrade from Chris Harris. Chris Harris was a stud, frankly. Um, so Ojemudia should probably be like on the other side of AJ Bouye and give a really good backfield for the Broncos. They also have Justin Simmons, who's a really good safety, and that defense should be scary.
Right.
With the 78th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons select Matt Hennessy, center out of Temple. Uh, I didn't think the Falcons O line was that bad, um, especially when Chris Lindstrom came back. I would have thought they'd have tried to address their pretty bad defense, but I won't complain too much about an O line pick, and you can get good value for centers in the third round anyway.
Yeah, for sure. The Falcons O-line wasn't it didn't live up to what people thought it would last year for sure. I think the problem really emerged from the tackle position, but I guess improving the O-line in any way helps. And Hennessy's not a bad prospect, so solid from them. Needed some help there. You could have said they could have gone elsewhere, but not mad about it. So now we got New York Jets getting Jabari Zuniga. I almost sounded
Zavari Z.
yeah, it almost sounded bad. I'm just gonna say it. Jabari Z or Jabari Z. God dang, defensive end from Florida. I'm not good at pronouncing names. I'm good at talking football. So anyway, Jabari, good prospect, and definitely there to help out the edge rush. They did have a good run game defense, but edge rush is a different story. So we'll see some improvement here from him.
Yeah. Um, Zvari Z is an edge rusher. Their pass rush wasn't amazing last year. They had a good run D, but not a really good pass rush. And while still their Their passing defense was pretty bad. A good pass rush should help out with their passing defense. So yeah, I won't complain. Addresses the need, and the Jets did good. Moving on, the Las Vegas Raiders select Lynn Bowden, wide receiver out of Kentucky. Kind of strange that they chose a receiver when they already chose Henry Ruggs in the first round, but I don't know. Maybe they really wanted to step up that receiving core. I would have loved to see more defensive picks, like a safety to complement Jeff Heath, but I don't complain too much, I guess.
So this one is, yeah, also strange to me. They go with wide receiver with their first pick, with you already have a pretty good receiving core, and now you go with another receiver here. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it does say, he could play running back, so maybe, but you do have Josh Jacobs already, so that doesn't make sense to me. I think he's going to be used as a receiver. So I'm not sure about this one, but I'll let it slide as long as they go defense with the next pick. Oh wait, the next pick from the Bears, Brian Edwards, wide receiver. What the fuck? Uh, Okay, two receivers maybe, but no, the three in a row. Are you kidding me? No, that's not good.
Why not more?
No,
What's wrong with having all the receivers?
maybe get a
Who
tight
cares
end.
that their
Like
defense? Who cares that their defense might be really bad because they didn't decide to address their cornerback or safety one more time? No, let's just get more receivers. I don't get this pick from the Raiders, and well, yeah, I don't get it. Why did they do that?
the
They
wannabe
also
Chiefs, but they don't have at least anything on defense.
all right. Well, the Cowboys select the A2 overall pick, Neville Gallimore, defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. This was a good pick. Robert Quinn left for free agency, so this is sort of his replacement. And Gallimore should have gone higher. I won't complain. It's a good pick.
Yeah, their whole D line wasn't incredible last year. Their whole defense needed help, but D line is a solid pick from them. Like you said, Trench's picks are never bad, so it's solid from them. Yeah, not much else to say. Then we got the Denver Broncos, pick 19 in the third round from the Steelers, Lloyd Cushenberry, I think, center from LSU. So I don't know much about the Broncos O-line last year, but I can definitely see the value in this pick trying to protect Drew Lock, who is, was supposed to be like their third string backup and is now going to probably be going forward as their starter, so we got to see him get some help up in the front line as much as possible. So I don't think it's bad from them. Maybe they needed more defensive needs, but I'm not going to nitpick.
Yeah, the Broncos have done a really good job building around Drew Lock. He showed a lot of promise in his rookie season, and they've gone all in to give him weapons, to give him an O line, and I really like what the Broncos have done. Cushionberry should help out with that. He was a pretty good prospect. They can get good value for guards and centers in the third round, like I've said before.
Mhm.
And overall, I like this pick. All right, the Los Angeles Rams select Terrell Lewis, linebacker from Alabama. They finally addressed their defense. Corey Littleton left, who Corey Littleton was a beast and was a huge part of that defense. And him leaving is going to affect the Rams pretty hard. I don't think Terrell Lewis will become Corey Littleton in his rookie season, but he should help ease the damage of losing Littleton. And and I won't complain about a linebacker pick.
Yeah, they needed help on defense with this pick, no question. Um, and linebacker, never mad about. Could maybe say safety, maybe say cornerback. Don't know the ins and outs of their defense, but with Littleton leaving, definitely want to get a replacement for him higher in the draft. So solid from them, despite an interesting first few picks. But then we have the Indianapolis Colts getting their pick from the Eagles to the Lions and selecting Julian Blackman, safety from Utah. So this is solid from them, in my opinion. They do have Philip Rivers stepping in for that offense. They go receiver with their first pick, or was it second pick? Do you know?
First.
Okay. And then they obviously always have T.Y. Hilton. Mack, and then they picked a running back. So, they built up their offense enough. Defense want to invest in a little bit, and safety a good investment here.
Yeah. Their defense was good last year, but it wasn't amazing, and they don't really have many holes in their roster. Their O line's really good, so they don't need an O line pick. And yeah, my guess is this will probably be the eventual replacement for Malik Hooker. The Colts didn't exercise his 5th-year option, so they might just be looking to replace him at a cheaper weight, and I wouldn't be surprised there. All right, Buffalo Bills selected running back Zach Moss out of Utah, the 86th overall pick. I don't mind this. The Bills are pretty stacked everywhere, and might as well give him another running back. My guess is he'll replace Frank Gore. I mean, Gore was okay, but he is definitely showing age, and Zach Moss should help out with Devin Singletary to make a great 1-2 punch at running back.
Yeah, they're definitely probably very complete. I do think Singletary played very well, so it was a little confusing to me, but the Frank Gore replacement, I can see it, and a lot of teams want to do this, double running back combo. You saw it with the Ravens, a few picks back. I think it bleeds off the Niners because they thrived very much from that, and I think it's because of the lack of linebackers from a lot of teams. So we'll see if it helps out them and if they see the same results. Then we've got New England Patriots going with Anfernee Jennings, linebacker from Alabama. So I'm not mad at this one. Their defense was very solid last year, obviously, for the first few games. By far number one in the league. But you just want to build on it. I would have liked offensive help, like a receiver, but not mad at it. I like it.
Yeah. They double dipped in linebacker their first 2 picks, which I sort of understand. They lost Kyle Van Noy. I think Jamie Collins was a linebacker. He might have been an outside linebacker. And they want to replace both of them. They already had Uche, and Jennings should help that linebacking core. My guess the Pats will be a very defense focused team, especially with the new faces on offense, Brady being gone, so they're gonna thrive off their defense for a while. I could nitpick and say that they should have chose a tight end or a receiver or whatever, but I don't know. That's kind of nitpicking. Good pick doing. With the 88th overall pick, the Cleveland Browns traded back from the Saints and got Jordan Elliott, defensive tackle from Missouri. The Browns defense was probably one of their weaker points besides coaching, and their D line was okay, I guess. It wasn't amazing, and they also did struggle a lot to stop the run. You saw like with games like the Ravens where they'd run all over them, and you saw like Cardinals, Kenyon Drake had that 4 touchdown day. They want to fix that, and Jordan Elliott should help out.
Yeah, defense was their need, and they went with safety with their last or some other pick. So I think defensive tackle is great for them. Not mad at it. Just solid from them. Moving on, Minnesota Vikings, Cameron Dantzler, cornerback from Mississippi State. I think this is a great pick from them. They want to continue filling in the holes that are going to be left from Alexander and the other person that went to the Bengals, and I believe,
Trey Wayne.
yeah, and then Xavier Rhodes, obviously. So that defense took a big hit in the offseason, and they're trying to build it up again. They're doing what they need to.
Yeah, Cameron Dantzler. They needed cornerback help. They already chose Jeff Gladney, but I'm glad they doubled down on cornerback because they had no cornerbacks whatsoever. And the Vikings have had a really strong draft so far.
Mhm.
My guess is he won't immediately replace Rhodes and Gladney, but eventually, if he develops, could eventually be a replacement. So the Houston Texans, the 90th overall pick, select Jonathan Greenard, linebacker out of Florida. Solid linebacker pick. Texans defense pretty bad last year, and they're looking to finally build that up. Hopefully, Deshaun Watson won't have to carry a really bad squad this time, especially with that DeAndre Hopkins. But building up that defense should help.
Yeah, the Texans defense was one of those that was just it had no all-around talent. After they got rid of Matthew, the Chiefs So they needed help in like anywhere, to be honest, and linebacker is the safest place to go for that. Solid pick from them, in my opinion. I like it. And then we got New England Patriots are up again, going with Divin Asiasi, tight end at UCLA. So this is, uh, I think, good from them. I would have probably gone with receiver, but I'm not gonna nitpick like that. Offense was the play, and they went with it. I think this might have been, they got rid of Gronk, but I don't think he was gonna go back to the Patriots. They did get rid of him to the Bucks, so they probably want to try to emulate the great offense they had with him and go with the tight end. Give a bulky receiver to Stidham.
Yeah, Stidham could use a safety blanket, and hopefully SCSC becomes a sort of safety blanket. Uh, Tight end last year was a really bad position for the Pats. Their best tight end was old ass Ben Watson, who was like 30 something. So they desperately needed to help that tight end, and I think they got a good one. All right, the Baltimore Ravens, the 92 overall pick, select Devin Duvernay, wide receiver out of Texas. I won't complain. The Ravens definitely needed some receivers. I mean, they had Hollywood Brown, but he kind of got injured a good bit, and they didn't really have anyone else to be a number two to him. So I don't know. Uh, Good pick by the Ravens, who otherwise don't really have too many holes.
Yeah, at this point with teams like the Ravens, like the Saints, you're pretty much just looking for backups who can develop into roles that are going to go missing in a few years. That's just how ahead they are. So with receiver, they do need slight help and probably just an investment for the future. Good from them. Tennessee Titans now with the 29th pick in the third round. Darrington Evans, running back from that place. So they did get rid of Dion Lewis in free agency to the Giants, and they do have obviously the king on their team already, but as we see with a lot of teams, they want to double down on running back. So I'm not mad at it. I think this is solid from them.
Yeah. You can see this as two ways, like a receiving back to complement Derrick Henry, or you could see this as Derrick Henry's replacement, as Derrick Henry was franchise tagged. My guess is he'll still play with the Titans next year, but he might not be here the year after. So, good pick just in case Henry decides to leave for a free agency next year.
Oh
The
boy.
Green Bay Packers,
Oh boy.
with the 94th overall pick, select Josiah DeGuara, tight end out of Cincinnati. Now, what's funny about this one is he's going to be converted to fullback. Apparently, they wanted a Kyle Juszczyk
They
for
couldn't
Packers.
they couldn't have just said, "Damn, this is a tight end. This is a bad pick." They had to make it even worse and go fullback.
Why not? Who cares that their defense? They gotta hope to God that Christian Kirksey stays healthy because that. Besides that, they don't really have good linebacker depth. Uh, I don't know. They lost Brian Bulaga out of free agency, so they kind of need a tackle. They don't have a great defense. Maybe their run defense was really bad last year. Maybe help out with that. There's so many other options besides fullback, and it just seems like the Packers are trying to emulate the Niners, but in like a really bad way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they got spanked by the Niners too many times. They just needed to be like them. But like they have now zero linebackers. They have Alexander, I guess, on the defense, but pass rush isn't good. Their whole defense just needed help, and they just continue to ignore it. The only thing good about this pick was the reactions from Packers fans. That gave me much happiness. But besides that, like, I don't know what they're doing. Then we got Denver Broncos from the Niners going with McTelvin Agim, defensive tackle from Arkansas. So, Broncos, they do have a pretty solid D line already, but they're trying to build upon it, make it even stronger, get to the QB faster. Not upset about it. They did go cornerback, so just trying to build up that defense a bit more after investing with Drew Lock protection.
Yeah, their D line's pretty stacked. They got Drill Casey in free agency, but I won't complain about trench picks. Their run defense wasn't amazing last year, so might as well. We'll see if he starts, but I won't complain if he's even depth at this point because trench depth is always a. All right, with the 96th overall pick, the Kansas City Chiefs select Lucas Niang, tackle at TCU. Uh, thought this guy could have gone higher actually. He has some injury concerns, but he's a pretty good tackle. The Chiefs have a pretty underrated O line, but if this is depth, it's depth. I don't care. Um, Good pick.
Yeah, here I would have liked to see a defensive pick because, they've been investing in their offense so much, so heavily. I guess that is the Chiefs' way, and it worked to get them a Super Bowl. But I'm not sure. I would have liked to see some defense here. I do think their offensive line was already solid, but they don't want to risk that degrading with their running back coming in here and you know Mahomes being their star player. So I won't complain too much. And then we got the Cleveland Browns from the Texans, our first compensatory pick, Jacob Phillips, linebacker from LSU. Yeah, as I say, linebacker, I'm never mad about it, and I don't think they need a whole lot of other things on that team, so just not mad at it.
Yeah, Cleveland Browns are pretty stacked, but their defense wasn't amazing. Might as well add more defense. That was a big thing that they needed, and they got it done. Good job, Browns. Moving on, Baltimore Ravens got a compensatory pick, the 98th overall pick. They chose Malik Harrison, linebacker out of Ohio State. The Ravens have a all right linebacking core. They chose Patrick Queen already, but I don't mind another linebacker. Their defense, they're trying to stack their defense as much as possible, and linebacker depth is always a good thing. So, no complaints here.
Right. Um, Baltimore Ravens, yeah, they don't have a lot of holes. I mean, the only excuse at this point I could see people saying like this isn't good from them is like they should have traded their picks because at this point they are complete. Like not a lot they need. They did trade out their one of their vet linebackers to the Bengals, I know, so maybe it's a replacement for them, even though they did go linebacker a few picks ago. So I think it's just depth at this point. Good from them, not mad. But with the 99th pick overall, we have New York Giants getting Matt Pert, offensive tackle from UConn. This is a guy I think should have gone like mid late second, so I'm very happy with where we got him. And I don't want Nate Solder touching the field again, so as long as we have two offensive tackles now, I'm very happy with it. I think it's a good prospect. Nothing to complain about here.
Yeah, Nate Solder has become the Giants' trusty turnstile ever since he got there, and they really needed help on that O line, especially with Daniel Jones, who does have a fumbling issue. So a bad O line could lead to a lot more fumbles, but a good O line could reduce those fumbles and make Daniel Jones into a gunslinger that he is without all those fumbles. So don't complain here, especially with the Giants O line was a good pick. With the 100th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders select Tanner Muse, linebacker out of Clemson. I won't complain about linebacker depth. I think the Raiders have done a great job of getting a lot of good linebackers with Corey Littleton and Nick Kowski and another linebacker, Tanamuz. Won't complain. I could nitpick and say that I would have preferred a corner as safety, but that's just nitpicking.
So definitely needs to go defense after those three receivers. Ridiculous. If they went with another, I would have like stopped watching the draft. Period. Like what? I don't believe it. But yeah, defense is for sure a need for them. Wasn't their greatest part of their team last year, and I don't think it will be this year, but need to build on it. So happy with it. Then New England Patriots pick 101 in the overall from the Seahawks through the Jets. Go with Dalton Keene, tight end, Virginia Tech. All right, this is another what are you doing pick. I guess it's Bill Belichick. Can't be mad at anything he does, but like I'm gonna question it for sure. I'm not sure what the double tight end pick here is. I'm very confused.
Yeah. I They better hope the guy that Nikhil Harry develops because that could be really bad for that receiving core. Right now, it's just Edelman and a bunch of nothing. And if maybe N'Keal Harry becomes that true number one that the Pats desperately need, but if he doesn't, then let's just say they need a receiver. Also, Joe Thunley is franchise tagged. There's been rumors of traded. Their O line, Isaiah Wynn can't stay healthy. I would have liked to see a tackle pick maybe. There are a lot of other options the Pats could have gone that I would have liked considerably more.
Hmm.
All right, Pittsburgh Steelers select Alex Highsmith, linebacker out of Charlotte. This one makes the linebacker depth is never a bad thing. The Steelers are pretty stacked, honestly. I think their defense is a lot better. And linebacking depth, never a bad thing, especially in the third round. They already addressed their receiving core being not that good in the earlier in the draft. So yeah, good pick by the Steelers.
Right. Not bad from them. Alex Highsmith, a good prospect, and defense already solid, but linebacker is always a good pick. It is one of the hardest positions to play, so never mad at it, and good from them. So then, pick 103 overall, Philadelphia Eagles go with Davion Taylor, linebacker from Colorado. Finally, they address some of the defensive needs they need. They defensive needs they need. But yeah, this is good from them. Won't be biased. This is need, and they finally filled it. Would have said they needed to go with it earlier, but I guess better now than ever.
Yeah, that Eagles defense was pretty bad last year, and they addressed their corner with the big play Slay. You could argue they needed another corner because Jalen Mills is pretty bad, or to replace Malcolm Jenkins. But linebacker, they didn't really have any good linebackers last year, and they might as well spend it at a linebacker here. Eagles didn't make a bad pick, so good job. All right, the Los Angeles Rams with the compensatory pick choose Terrell Burgess, safety out of Utah. Uh, all right, pick. I would have loved to see O line a little more. Their O line was pretty bad last year. Jared Goff is notoriously awful under pressure. So, would have loved to see the Rams sort of go O line here, but safety was another need. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I would have liked O-line too, but I'm not mad at the safety at all. I don't think it degrades it at all. Pretty solid from them and trying to help that defense out. Good from them. Then pick 105. Overall, we have New Orleans Saints from the Vikings getting Adam Troutman, tight end from Dayton. So this is pretty good from them. We don't know how long Cook's going to be around, and he was solid for them last year, so want to get a good young backup to fill his shoes in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, Jared Cook. He's still under contract, but my guess is he'll probably be replaced by Troutman later down the line. It could be a 1-2 punch if he develops earlier, or if they want to keep him develop more as soon as Jared Cook leaves, he could replace him. So, yeah, don't mind the pick Saints. Saints are otherwise really stacked anyway, so might as well prepare for the future. All right, the final pick in the third round, pick 106. The Baltimore Ravens select Tyree Phillips, guard out of Mississippi State. I mean, the Ravens' interior offensive line was all right. Marshall Yonda, I think, retired, so this is kind of his replacement. And don't mind it. Well, the Ravens are stacked anyway, so I won't complain about really any pick. So good job, Ravens.
Yeah, you have a super mobile quarterback and invested with two solid or three now really good running backs. So that O line needs to be as good as it ever can be. So unsurprisingly, good pick from them. And yeah, that'll wrap up the round three, and that'll wrap up our entire recap of the draft.
Um, so let's move on. We're going to talk about what our teams are affected by all these picks. I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
Josh Jones made that Simmons pick even better. A lot of people complained about O line. Jedrick Wills was still on the board, and he is, in my opinion, a surefire tackle prospect. But Simmons was the best player on the board, so picked up Simmons. And people wondering how are they going to fix their O line. Josh Jones should have gone the first round. Don't know why he didn't. He's my fifth ranked tackle. I thought he was really good, and should help out with the Cardinals O line, which was pretty bad. So good pick.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick for you, for sure. After the Isaiah Simmons pick, you kind of rolled the dice on offensive line or defensive help, and it definitely worked out with this pick. So good for you. And then I follow in your footsteps, going offensive tackle as well. Some people wanted edge rusher here, but in my opinion, the offensive line definitely needed help. I'm very happy that we didn't just stop with one pick and call it a day, because our O-line, besides Hernandez, needed help all around. And now we won't be able to address it, but later on, I go with Shane Lemieux, who will probably convert to center. We trade for a guard on the for the Cowboys, and obviously Andrew Thomas went first overall, and now we go with Matt Pert. So completely revamping the offensive line, and I think it's with a lot better prospects. As long as no one busts, we should be solid and not mad at this at all.
It's not with every team. As long as our prospects don't suck, we're good.
Everyone in
All
this
right.
draft is a bust.
There will be no good prospects. All right. Well, it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed our podcast. And we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.